My name is Rembert. I'm 22 years old. I grew up in Bow Valley, Nebraska, which is a rural Nebraska town of about 80 people. And then I moved to Omaha to pursue my bachelor's in vocal performance, but I didn't know it at the time. I started out in education and did it for 3 years and then decided to make musical theater my full-time passion. So I've been singing as a semi-professional for about 4 years now. I just recently graduated and am making my professional debut at the Blue Barn. I'm very excited. I've done community theater all over Omaha and in my hometown. I just recently got cast in Lo Vista's production of the 25th annual Putnam Spelling Bee, which I'm very excited about. And I'm excited to be here at the Blue Barn. I picked this song, They Just Keep Moving the Line from Smash, when I heard that this was going to be an American spotlight of musical theater music. And that piece is sung by Marilyn Monroe, arguably the most American woman maybe to ever exist. And also because I'm a Megan Hilty super fan. She is my idol, and it's been a song on my wish list for a very long time now, but I never got to sing it in school. And so I knew that this was going to be the perfect venue, the perfect creative team, and the perfect opportunity to sing it. And so I jumped on it right away, and I've been having a lot of fun.
Evelyn?
Hi, my name is Evelyn Hill, and I just graduated high school. Fun, woot woot. I will be singing, with this amazing production. It All Fades Away from the musical Bridges in Madison County, and I really love the song, so that's why I picked it. Cool.
Julian?
Hi, I'm Julian Hinrichs. I went to Westside. I started performing with like band and instruments, and then my friends in theater like coerced me into auditioning for a show. Now I'm here, and I picked I Love Betsy because it's just a really fun song to do, and you know, like the first time I was able to like sing it all in one breath, it felt amazing.
Jesse?
Hi, my name is Jesse White. I'm 19. I graduated from Omaha Central High School here, and I'm currently finishing my sophomore year at UNO, where I'm studying music technology. I chose this song because I recently just finished doing this show, Hedwig and the Angry Inch. I got to do it during kind of an uncertain time. I got to do it with actually my other castmate here, Evelyn Hill, who is just amazing. And just really special to me. I really loved this show. It was one of the most gratifying things I've ever done. And I just love the song.
Stella?
Hello, my name is Stella CK. I'm a freshman, so I'm 14. And I kind of am just starting out at my high school with theater. And I really love doing the musical theater there. I chose to do One Perfect Moment from Bring It On because I love the music and I've always wanted to perform it. And I think it's a really great acting piece as well, which I'm big into acting. So, yeah.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hal France, and you have stumbled upon the Blue Barn Creative Conversation. And today I'm joined by 5 outstanding young performers who are part of our program for Sunset to Starlight, a celebration of American musical theater, Blue Barn style. And they all have been selected through auditions to be part of our song spotlight. And they are Evelyn Hill, Julian Hinrichs, Stella CK, Jesse White, and Hannah Rembert. Welcome, everybody. Why don't you all just unmute so we can all just have a nice conversation here. I'm not going to pick anybody unless nobody wants to talk, then I guess I will. But I'd like to really ask you guys, you're all so very accomplished. I have to say how thrilled I am to be here with you, because the combination that you represent to me is of achievement and of creativity and also of humanity. It feels to me like all of you, getting to know each of you, I see just such wonderful human impulses in each of you that are really inspiring to me. So I really loved this, and I'm looking forward to talking to you. So we're going to start with an easy question. What are your earliest memories of musical theater? And when did you realize that you wanted to be a part of it?
I can start. I was kind of a late bloomer when it came to theater. I didn't really do anything elementary school or middle school. I'd always like heard of it, but never really participated in it myself until my junior year of high school. They were doing a production of Grease and they didn't have enough guys. So I decided I would hop in and do that. And ever since then, I've just fallen in love with it. It's just such a fun way to express yourself through like song and dance. I've always loved singing, but I've never had the chance to do acting and dancing. I just found that I really enjoyed doing that as well. I loved just like performing with a group of people, a group of friends. It's such a magical experience. And it was something I really fell in love with in high school and I'm still doing to this day.
I'll go next. I think my first memories of theater was when I would go with my parents to whatever rehearsal or play they were doing at the time, because they're big theater people. And I would sit and watch the rehearsals go on, and it would just fascinate me because I loved seeing the actors, move up on stage and do fun and weird things. And then kind of towards middle school, I got more into musical theater because I was exposed to choir and show choir, and I think it all kind of fit. And now I'm just blooming into this actress that, yeah.
That's really great, Stella. I love the blooming into this actress, and that a lot about all of this is about like blooming. It's springtime, but it feels like you all are blooming, and I love that. How about you, Evie?
Oh, hello. My siblings were very into musical theater and all of that, and so I kind of grew up all around that. And my mom plays the flute, and my brother is a sub for the Omaha Symphony. So, and my sister now, she lives in New York, and she's a dresser for the Metropolitan Opera. So I, kind of grew up around that. And I think about like middle school or high school, I was like, I love this and I can't see myself doing anything else. So.
Great. How about you, Julian?
My family like always took me to shows, like hold on 1 second, my dog, I'm so sorry.
Okay, Hannah, while he's getting his dog, why don't you tell us a little bit about your earliest musical theater experiences?
Sure. The earliest memory I have of musical theater is watching Jesus Christ Superstar on VHS. If we all still remember what that is, when I was about 6 years old. Arguably probably not the most appropriate show for a 6-year-old, but I fell in love with it. And then I didn't really know what it is. I didn't connect the dots for a while, but I went down an Andrew Lloyd Webber rabbit hole, Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat and Phantom and Cats and everything, but I didn't know that it was a real thing. I thought they were movies. And then when I grew up, my mom started taking me to shows and plays in our local town. And I realized that this was something that humans could do. So I asked him for more and more and more until I got to high school and started doing one act and speech and all of these things, but I couldn't get out of musical theater. So I decided to go to school for music ed. Everyone told me that I probably shouldn't be a performer. I should do teaching because it's more financially stable. And then finally took the plunge my junior year to commit full time to doing musical theater. And I have Glenn Carter in the 2000 version of Jesus Christ Superstar to thank for that when I was 6 years old.
Julian, we couldn't hear your dog, but if he was there, I would say bring him into the shot. You know, I mean,
well, it's just like she was making noise. And I knew that it was gonna like get louder, and I just wanted to, avoid that. But so yeah, my family like to take me to shows like at the Rose and just other theater venues when I was younger, and I always thought it was cool, but I didn't try it until I was in 7th grade. And like the first time you take a bow in your first show, it feels complete, and it's kind of when I was like, this is really awesome. Really like it.
Thank you guys. That's all great. And you're all sort of a little bit at different stages of your own, your own journey. But you have some very similar things in common. But now I want you just to step back a little bit and just now thinking about musical theater and think of your experiences being in different kinds of productions and working with people. What are some of the things about musical theater that you think may be preparing you to be more effective as a person? Some people have written they love being in musical theater because of the kind of interaction they have with people, or the sense of achievement, or just the sheer pleasure of performing. But I don't want to put words in your mouth. What do you think you get out of being in musical theater? And what is in being in rehearsal and working on a show, what are the challenges and how do they help you move on, progress?
I can go first if you want. I think that question is very important for right now, Hal, especially in the pandemic, because we've all been missing musical theater. It's been gone for a while. So I think one of my favorite parts is the communication and all the different forms of communication, not just through email and texting, but like working on a scene with a partner and really connecting and feeling the electricity come up between you. And even if the audience can't see it, you can feel it. Or a director saying, yes, perfect. You know what I mean? The feeling when you've gotten it right and everyone is reading what you're giving them and everybody's on the same page and you're working as a well-oiled machine and the show is going perfectly. And then, like Julian said, there's nothing like a bow. There's nothing like a bow at the end of the night that all of your hard work has come and everyone can feel it and you have given it all and the audience is loving it. I just think the communication and all the different forms that reside in musical theater, it just doesn't happen anywhere else. We are the epitome of communication as actors, and especially as singing actors. Like, emotion cannot be portrayed anywhere else better than musical theater, in my opinion. It's the perfect way to emote. It's the perfect way to communicate.
That sounds like gospel to me. So who else would like to jump in? I see you, Evie.
I think the beautiful thing about every single time I do a show, I learn something about myself and the people around me. And that's the thing I love about performing, is it's not just about you. It's about the whole production. It's about coming together. It's about learning from the people around you, not just the director, but from your castmates, your fellow castmates. The beautiful thing about theater is that you have this role of portraying a story to tell and telling human stories. And I think that's very beneficial, and it's very, it makes people in the audience reflect and then look around themselves and stop and think. So.
Thank you. I love that. I love that. Anybody else want to dive into that one? Go ahead, Julian.
Something I love about different productions are like how there's never the same group of people. I mean, there's the recurring fellow actors. I mean, this is more so because I'm just out of high school and I'm used to the setting of the people I know, acting along with them. And something that was very rewarding every time was just everyone pulling their weight, seeing them backstage doing what they have to do, knowing that they're in their own version of the zone and how it all contributes to a greater picture. and like seeing people evolve from the beginning of the process to the end. It's really, really rewarding.
This sounds a lot like, in another area altogether, when people talk about teamwork and team building, and no one is greater than the sum of the parts. Everyone is part of something. These are kind of the values of lots of really good things that go on in the world. And so, even though we get to do it in a play that is somewhat, artificial, I guess, maybe it's not completely reality. And yet you kind of learn, like Evie said, about yourself, and you kind of learn how you work with others. And those are really good things. And maybe you don't, in your academic careers, you don't learn them as much as you do when you get up on your feet and you're part of a living, breathing group of ensemble of people. Stella and Jesse, I mean, do you guys agree with that? Stella, you've been doing this for a long time, even though you're only a freshman. You're a pro at this point. So what do you think about that?
I think that theater has taught me to reach for goals, because theater is such, like, the actual concept of performing or putting on a show is, you start with rehearsals, and then you add going on stage, and then you add lights, and then you add costumes, and then you add an audience, and then it's the final show. And I think that that's how I go through life as a whole, is going through goals and, reminding myself that after this week, I have this, after these 2 weeks, I have this. And I think that really stems from theater, because I'm so used to that routine of adding the costumes and adding the lights and adding the set. So, yeah.
You look very thoughtful there, Jess. I'm going to say something. If you want to jump in, I want to ask you something, because because of your choices that you've made. You're a really fine performer, and I know you love performing, and yet you've also dedicating your time to doing something which you would say is that kind of role of being behind the scenes, being an audio engineer. I mean, there are star audio engineers in the world. I mean, if you are somebody like that, everybody wants you, right? If you're really good at it. But it's not exactly glamorous work. Tell us about that. Why have you kind of put your feet in two different areas there?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes with what we're talking about, just like how no one person is greater than the sum of all the parts. I mean, there's so many moving pieces, especially in theater. And one part I've always been interested in is just kind of like the technology of it all. And so that's what I've kind of been studying in college. And just because, like, I don't know, I find a lot of times that I find serving other people and helping them shine can be a lot more fun than just having the spotlight on you. I think there's like a real beauty in that. I think there's a real beauty in like we say, kind of like working together. And also it's just, I like committing myself to like one thing 100%. I think I get that a lot with theater, is like anytime I'm in a show, I feel like I'm 100% in that, and I'm 100% like dedicated to what's happening there. And I'm kind of in two different like swimming pools right now. So I'm trying to dedicate myself to one thing and also like give enough to another. But I think that's kind of like the fun of it, like the duality of like being in front of the stage, being behind the stage, and either way, just giving 100% of myself to that.
That's also just fantastic. As Stella and Jesse were speaking, I was thinking about that, people always say it's the process. It's the process. And how that's so advantageous, because that really life is like that. If you have to live every moment thinking you're going to arrive and not be able to be patient for that arrival, which I think the process gives you that kind of hope that, you apply yourself and you work together, and you really don't even know what the end's going to be, but you have patience and trust and faith that it's going to be something. And how many things in life are like that? Do you guys see, do you have any examples of this? I mean, you're all young, which is fantastic, you know, and I'd love to interview you all in 10 years to ask you, you know, how has some of this transferred into your life? Can you see this experience that you're a part of now, kind of morphing into something else in your life? You know, a career, being part of a profession, doing something that's maybe not theatrical, but is very creative. Any thoughts on that? Have I hit a dead end? You could also say, yes, we absolutely see that, and we can move on.
I think theater gives us a lot of skills that we apply all the time. You know, we're taught to project, and we're taught to emote, and we're taught to connect, and all of those things. And I think that we use those every day. We use them every day. But I was in my business of music class, and I was speaking to one of the speakers, and she was like, "Are you a singer?" And I said, "Yes, I am." I didn't know her, and I didn't think she knew me. So I was taken aback by it. And she was like, "I can tell because you're very well spoken." And I said, "Thank you so much. That was such a compliment. I really appreciated it." But I think that's something that theater has given actors, is that we are communicative. We're people. We want to be with other people. We want to be around other people. And we can apply that all over the place. You know what I mean? Jesse's going to start a business, I'm sure, to be the best audio engineer, because he can speak and he can emote and he can work with people. And I think that's what we do all the time as actors. You know, that's why you see actors running part-time jobs, 4 part-time jobs in the background, and then they're on the stage every night, because because we're multifaceted people, and we use theater in all areas of our life, not just on the stage.
Well said. Anybody else want to jump in? Stella?
I think that if we're taking life lessons from theater, one of them is like, theater people are some of the kindest people that I've ever met. And like, they're the most accepting. Like, if you don't feel loved, or you don't feel like you're enough, you just go to a theater person and they will hug you no matter what. And I think that that, like, seeing that just entering high school is already giving me more kindness in my heart for other people. And I think that I didn't have that much until I embraced myself all around these people. And I think that it's just like, theater is all about the community and, you know, accepting everyone. And yeah, I've just noticed that.
That is fantastic. I love that. And I agree with you, Stella. Evie, you have a very thoughtful look on your face.
Well, that's
Say
a great question, because, you know, that's interesting, because I'm leaving for college, and I'm going to the new school in New York for acting. And I was thinking about how I can, you know, tap into my other interests while I'm there. And so one of the things that I love that also kind of coincides with theater is psychology, because they're just, so yeah, cool beans.
That's cool. That's cool. Yes. You do have some experience in analysis, right? Because you, in effect, you have to get underneath the skin of each character you play and think about what makes them tick. And in the process, you could see that you do become a bit of a psychologist. And so that's a very natural place to go. And I also think business is another natural place, like Hannah was saying, because especially if you feel confident standing up in front of people as yourself, not in a role, not hiding behind a character, but as yourself. And you can put all of that communication skills to good benefit. lead an organization, be a leader. You guys, I think many of you already are. Anyone else want to weigh in on that sort of crossover? Jesse, you're kind of already kind of doing it in a way, you know, by working as you are in a field that's got, you know, a lot more stuff in it that you have to know, technical things. You have to have a real sense. You got to be very absorbing constantly what's going on in the field. It's scientific in a way, for sure. So you're right, left brain are working full time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of technical aspects to it, but when you're like doing things like recording an album for people, or if you're like helping them like do live sound at a show, there's so much collaboration in that, and there's so much partnership in that, that you have to be someone who can have that part of your brain that's working on all the techie stuff, but at the same time, you have to be able to work with people. You have to be able to give ideas, take ideas, give criticism, take criticism. You know, there's so much back and forth with it, and there's so much like I mean, it's just like theater. There's so much back and forth whenever you're trying to work out a scene, whenever you're trying to figure out how this character would do this thing, or like if you're going to sing this note like this or like this. You know, there's so much that you have to be thinking about, and that applies to my field as well.
Fantastic. Julian, I'm going to send this question to you and to start it, and feel free to jump in on what we just talked about. But here's the new question. You guys are a historic generation in a sense. You've just lived through something that we're going to be talking about for generations. And right at a time when you were right in the middle of something, you know, let's put it this way. You're in the middle of something, your education, which is supposed to go a certain way. And boy, did it go a different way. And you're all survivors. You all have more than met the moment. But I want to ask you, what have you seen this past year in your dealings, either theater or non-theater, that you are inspired by? What has impressed you by the way people have reacted? What has impressed you about the way you have reacted to the restrictions that all of this has brought on us in the COVID year? Julian, you start.
That's a really good question. So, you know, this was senior year, what it's all been building up to. Everyone else in my grade, I mean, we were all in the same boat, and, you know, we all kind of collectively decided, instead of always just being like, no, we would have, you know, like done a lot, especially like for show choir people, I'm talking, because, you know, there weren't any competitions. We were going to travel to Chicago and Orlando, and that would have been super cool. But, you know, whatever. You win some, you lose some. But everyone just like kept working hard this year, which, you know, really made me want to work hard, even though we weren't like gonna take it to the, you know, pony show. We weren't gonna compete with anything that we were doing. And it was just really rewarding to be like, oh yeah, everyone's here because we like to perform. That was really nice.
Yeah, I hear glass half full and what you're saying, you know, and I know that you really valued being able to do the 2 shows that you did this year, even though, you know, you had to do them with masks on and all kinds of things that were kind of crazy, right? We went through the entire fall. No one even knew what each other looked like. You know, we were all like completely hidden to each other, doing this most intimate of our art forms. So, you know, really amazing. How about somebody else on this? What things really struck you, and what are you going to take away from this year that's going to be something you can use in the future, maybe?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I can remember when this first was all happening. I remember it was an email from UNO saying like, we're gonna have a few weeks off of school, like an extra spring break, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. And then of course, here we are now, Zooming to have a discussion. But I think one thing I've discovered throughout all this is that theater and kind of art in general is going to persevere throughout it. Like, even like when it seems like impossible for it to thrive, art is going to find a way to thrive, and like creation and stuff like that is going to find a way to like still exist and still like give its message. I mean, I was very fortunate to do a show kind of in the midst of all of it, kind of in the back end of it. We did a show, social distanced, masked on for the audience, but we were able to perform for them at kind of a difficult time. And it was really fulfilling. It was like so special to be able to put on a show during that time, not just for the audience, but just for us. I mean, such a good feeling, like rejuvenation whenever you're able to perform again and back to like getting that live feel, that give and take. So it's just kind of the beautiful thing I've seen throughout this whole thing is kind of just how our art form is going to find a way to survive.
Fantastic. I concur. And it made me think about what we're all in the process of doing right now. Is every night we go out there to see the audiences at the Blue Barn for the Sunset to Starlight. And people are just so happy to be there. I mean, it's really a honeymoon. I mean, if you have to really work for an audience to like you, this is like one of the least hard work times that I can ever imagine, right? It's like people really are happy to be there. So maybe we'll take that for a little while, but it's going to go back to normal. Performers have to work hard to win an audience over. But yeah, sure, people really are valuing all of this. Yeah. Anyone else want to jump in on that? Stella.
Kind of jumping off of what you said, I think that throughout this pandemic, I'll say the word, I've noticed how much love humans have for each other and how much we took it for granted. You know, I used to really dislike going out to dinner with my parents, and just I wanted to be home by myself in my little hole, you know. But once this pandemic happened and I got to spend a lot of time with them, I realized how much I missed like those tiny moments of just happiness and love, which I didn't want through a screen. And so, you know, as you were saying, this kind of opening up of live theater, I think it's just so awesome to see any sort of thing happening. Like how you said, this is the easiest audience to make happy. Like I will go to the store voluntarily with my mom because I think it's just getting out of the house and having human interaction. And I think that's what theater is all about, and bringing it back is just happiness. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you. I love that. Anybody else want to jump in on that?
I agree with Stella. Beautiful. That was something that was really hard for me in the beginning. I was feeling a lot of imposter syndrome when the pandemic hit because I'm not very good at sitting still. I'm not very good at resting. And I felt like very cut off from everybody. And I felt like other people were cut off and I couldn't get to them. So I had a lot of love and there was nowhere to put it. And that was hard, especially when we started picking up the pieces. But we were working on Songs for a New World at UNO, and then UNO did the opera as well. And everyone just kept saying, I'm so glad to see you. I'm so glad to see you. I missed you so much. And I found myself saying it to everyone, even if we weren't even that close, or if I didn't even know them that well. I'm just like, I'm so glad to see you. It was just, we wanted to be with each other for so long that when we came together, it was almost like the show didn't even need to happen. We were just happy to be there. You know what I mean? The performance was an afterthought. It was just that we get to be united again with our directors and with our maestros and with our castmates and our friends. It was just like, we didn't need an audience because theater was already happening behind the scenes. Nobody even needed to see it. And that was such a beautiful thing for me to learn and to have, because now we get it forever. And everyone kept saying, you'll just add it to your resume. You're a Zoom actor now. You know what I mean? Add it to your resume. And that was also really endearing as well. I've got all these new skills. I've got all this love for everyone around me. And now we can get to work. Now that the vaccines are out and everything is coming closer and closer to normal, now we can get to work. It's a wonderful feeling.
It is liberating to resume. People said that it's never going to go back to the way it was, normal, whatever that is. But the new normal, I think, is going to be pretty exciting. And it feels really great to get back to not thinking so much about social distancing and all of that, and be feeling like you can, just be more natural with everybody. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So here comes the dreaded question. And this is why I'm going to give you all time to think about this. Where do you all see yourselves maybe in 10 years? Does anyone have any kind of an idea of where they'd like to be 10 years from now? What would you like to be doing, Evie, 10 years from now?
I really just want to go. I want to get out there. I want to move. I want to perform. I don't want to limit myself. I just want to be a better, more well-rounded performer. And that's right now. That's what I'm saying right now. It could change in 10 years, but I'm excited to be living in the city. I'm excited to meet new people. I'm excited to learn from new people, and I'm just super excited to perform.
That's great. And 10 years is a nice period of time. I find that lots of 10-year periods in my life really you're really in a different place 10 years than you are when you start thinking about it. And basically the process is to journey, to grow, to move through, and to never stop. And you just don't know where it's going to take you. And I love that. But somebody else might get there a different way. Someone else really might have a vision of what they want to do by a certain time. Does anyone have that kind of thing? Anybody kind of function like that?
I mean, for me, ideally, I'd love to be still doing something in music, whether that's like still performing or engineering for people or anything like that sort. But mainly like focusing on just like helping other people make music through audio production and still being able to perform on the side, and living hopefully with my future wife, who I'm currently dating.
Well, that's a big one. Congratulations. That's a great goal. That's a great goal. Yeah. Hannah, what about you?
Well, when I changed my major, I told myself that I wanted to do musical theater full-time, like a living, no more part-time jobs, musical theater full-time. And of course, Broadway is my ultimate goal. But when I started, I had to have a hard conversation with myself that it's very difficult. And if this is your only goal, I'm not sure if we're in this business for the right reason. So I had a hard talk with myself, and I realized that I just wanted to be paid for the work and the passion that I've contributed towards musical theater, whether that's regional, whether that's community theater, whether that's Broadway, whether that's gigs, teaching. I teach at 2 studios here in Omaha. So I want to be paid for the work that I've done up until this point throughout my entire life. And I came from a very small town where my guidance counselor told me to drop choir so that I could do welding instead, because it wasn't a good use of my time. And I never got taken seriously. And when I switched my major to music ed, I got a lot of side eyes, and I got a lot of gossip, and I got a lot of negativity for it. So I want to be in 10 years in a place, hopefully in New York, in a beautiful apartment, doing musical theater full time, whatever that may mean. I'm not really sure, but whatever that may mean, I'm going to manifest it. Hopefully it becomes.
Hannah, I'm never going to be able to escape that guidance counselor's vision. I'm going to see you building skyscrapers in New York, you know, with your welding skills.
Maybe I'll join James and learn how to build sets or something. I think that would be great.
That is great. That is great. Julian, do you have anything that you want to jump in on with this?
I'd like to be somewhere else in 10 years. You know, I mean, I love Omaha. It's where I've been my whole life, but I feel like, you know, to like, I don't know. I mean, there's like, I'm going to start over. For me, kind of my definition of like success in like the performing world is, you know, kind of whatever the highest level would be. I mean, I don't need to be on Broadway, but that would be really awesome, like Hannah says. But, you know, just also kind of like Hannah said, not to totally steal her thing, but, you know, just working when I can, performing, it's kind of like food for the soul. And just, I see myself doing that, entertaining other people. That's what I love.
Great. Stella, I'm gonna use you for my last question, and then I'm gonna ask everybody to jump in on this. What are you guys most looking forward to in the short term? What's exciting on your horizon? What are you looking forward ahead to right now? What excites you, Stella?
A lot of things, because I'm 14 years old, so I have so much ahead. My brain right now, once you said that, it went straight to driving. Like, I know you guys are like, oh yeah, driving, but like, I cannot wait. Like, it is gonna be so exciting to just take myself out of the house. You know, I don't need any rides from anyone. I just can take myself. And then kind of going off of that is independence. You know, I'm excited because every year in high school you have more and more independence. And I'm at that kind of point right now where I'm like, yes, okay, I'm young. I'm not there yet, but I'm right there. So like everything seems like I'm on the edge, but I'm not there yet, but I'm close. And I just want to be there. Like all those little marks, you know, like driving, voting, moving out of the house, going to college, starting a life for myself, you know. That's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. Also, can I go to the bathroom, please?
Yes, of course.
I'm going to turn off my camera now.
Being an independent person, I think that you didn't have to ask, but that's fine.
Well,
Okay.
I was just about to say that's true independence right there.
That is true independence. Okay, let's do a lightning round here. Maybe we'll get Stella back in time. We're going to close out shortly. Lightning round. What are you looking forward to, Evie?
Sorry. I like my dogs. I love my dogs. That's, I don't know. I'm maybe getting a new dog, so that's I love animals. I just love hugging them and stuff like that. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Great. Julian?
There's the NAHISTA Awards. For those of you who know who it is, get nominated for my role in Big Fish, and that's gonna be really fun. And then after that, just got casted in a show about Buddy Holly as Richie Valens, who sings La Bamba, you know. So
Do you know that your partner is right next to you there? Jesse is Buddy.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's also what I'm excited for. I'm playing Buddy Holly in the Buddy Holly story, which is shameless promo, but it's July 30th through August 1st, and you should come see me and your boy Julian.
Yes, yes, set them
I
up. Vinny.
will, I will, I will. That's great. Hannah, your show? Coming
Yes. At La Vista, rehearsals are starting next week. It's very exciting. It's in July if y'all like to come and see it. I'm Logan in 25th annual Putnam Spelling Bee in La Vista, so that's really exciting. I'm also going on vacation to Colorado for the first time in years. And I can't stop thinking about it. It's gonna be so much fun. But then I'm also moving soon. So I'm going to be saying goodbye to Omaha and I'll be moving. And that's very, very exciting. It's been a wonderful time here, but I'm ready for the bright lights, big city. So.
Well, listen, this has been a fantastic conversation. I want to thank you guys. You're all so impressive and so delightful. And thank you for sharing so beautifully with us today in this creative conversation from the Blue Barn. I would just like to say to our audience that this is going to be part of a digital production that you'll be able to view online from May 28th through June 11th. And you'll get also to hear all the 5 people plus 4 others sing, as well as our cast. So lots of musical theater coming your way digitally starting on May 28th. And thank you so much for being with, thank you very much for being with us here today. And you guys are awesome. And I just want to thank you for giving your time, and I wish you all the best in your next steps and throughout. You're going to all do very well. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hal.